Do you know that feeling of finishing an RPG game you've invested over 100 hours in, or closing the last page of that epic fantasy book, and then looking around at your room? That deafening silence of real life knocking at the door. The world's color palette suddenly seems to turn gray. The bills on your desk seem like the worst side quest in the world. And a genuine sadness, almost like mourning, tightens your chest. You'd rather be there. You'd rather that were reality. It's very difficult to face this fact. I've been through it. If you've ever felt this way, society usually has a very quick and cruel response. Go touch some grass. Go live real life. You're running away from your problems.
They treat it as a character flaw, a weakness of someone who can't handle the pressure of the adult world. But let's be honest here, okay? I want you to forget everything you've heard about toxic productivity or how you're wasting your time. Today, we're going to look at this from a completely different perspective. And I'll tell you right now what we're going to discover together. Your desire to live in a fictional world isn't a disease or a defect in your brain. In fact, it's your brain functioning perfectly well. It's a brilliant evolutionary survival mechanism. Your brain is creating a simulator, desperately seeking to supply psychological nutrients that the modern real world has stopped giving you. Let's see if you can see how this fits perfectly into your life.
Think about how the real world works today. You wake up, get stuck in traffic, go to a job or school where you often have no say, follow rules you didn't create, come home exhausted, and repeat the cycle. Evolution didn't prepare our minds to live in Excel spreadsheets, in 6 o'clock traffic, or in endless bureaucracy. We were programmed to see the direct result of our effort, to belong to a close-knit tribe, and to be in control of our own path. In psychology, there's a highly respected concept called self-determination theory. This theory, thoroughly studied by experts in human behavior, states that for a human being to be mentally healthy, motivated, and happy, 3 basic needs must be met: autonomy, competence, and connection. If real life doesn't provide this, your brain will seek the closest place where it exists. And guess where delivers these 3 things on a silver platter? Yes, fictional worlds. Video games, anime, books, tabletop RPGs. Let's analyze the first pillar, autonomy. In fantasy worlds, you have the power of choice. You decide whether to explore the dark cave or build a house on the hill. You choose your class, your skills, your allies. In the real world, the feeling we often have is of being trapped on the tracks of a roller coaster we didn't choose to ride. The lack of control over one's own destiny in adult life is overwhelming. When you escape into fiction, you're not escaping responsibility. You're escaping the feeling of powerlessness. You're seeking to regain control of some story, since your own story seems to be written by chance or the demands of others. Then we have competence. In a game or in the journey of a book protagonist, effort is always clearly and visibly rewarded. You defeat monsters, your experience bar fills up, you level up and gain a new skill. There is absolute clarity of progression. In real life, you can work hard for 5 years at the same company, and your only reward is more work, without any recognition, without any financial or personal leveling up. Real life is a terribly designed game where the rules change all the time and effort rarely equals reward. Our brain hates spending energy without seeing results. Fiction hacks this reward system, delivering the dopamine of overcoming challenges that reality denies us. And finally, the third and perhaps most important pillar, connection. Think of the Fellowship of the Ring. Think of the Straw Hat Crew. Think of your guild and your favorite MMO. Fiction presents us with deep, unconditional bonds of friendship and loyalty, people who would fight and die for you. And in the real world, we live in the age of digital hyperconnection, but we have never been so lonely. We have traded the tribe for the newsfeed. Chronic loneliness is an invisible epidemic. When you cling to fictional characters, it's not because you're antisocial, it's because your biology cries out for belonging, for real intimacy, for a tribe. And if the real world only offers you coworkers who barely say good morning, your brain will find that tribe in the pages of a manga or in the cinematics of a game. We're approaching a crucial point in our journey today, the moment when we need to decide how to use this knowledge to our advantage, to move from the understanding phase to the action phase. And in a way, we're both on a small journey here, don't you think? If you've made it this far in the video, it means we have something in common. We value stories that make us think and that respect our intelligence.
If YouTube were a giant RPG, subscribing to this channel would be like finding a safe checkpoint, a point on the map where you meet with allies who understand your language before going out to face the bosses of the world out there. So, click the subscribe button, join our guild, This way you ensure that amidst so much superficiality on the internet, you'll always have a place to return to, where we transform psychology and life experience into real tools for your journey. Come with me, because the next step will change the way you see your own life. Now that you understand that this escape is not a flaw, but rather a legitimate pursuit of autonomy, competence, and connection, we need to talk about the trap.
Because there is a stark difference between adaptive escapism and maladaptive escapism, and this is where clinical science comes in. Adaptive escapism is about using that fantasy world as an oasis. Real life is a tiring desert. The sun is scorching. You enter the fiction, drink fresh water, rest in the shade, take a deep breath, recharge your stamina and magic bars, and then you return to the desert, stronger and ready to keep walking. This is healthy. This is necessary. The problem and the danger you need to watch out for is maladaptive escapism. It's when you decide to build a house in the oasis and never return to the desert.
It's when your real life begins to crumble. Your physical health declines, your real relationships disappear, your finances collapse, and you don't care because your fictional self is doing just fine, thank you. When fiction ceases to be a place of rest and becomes your only mental dwelling, you've stopped using simulation to survive and have become its hostage. So how do we solve this? How do we avoid abandoning the real world altogether? The key isn't to destroy the fictional worlds you love. The key is to reverse engineer why you love them and apply that to your reality. We need to start gamifying your real life. And I don't mean that in a silly way with habit tracking apps, but in a psychological way. Do you need autonomy?
Start saying no to side missions others give you that don't serve your goals. Create small spaces in your routine where you have absolute control. It doesn't matter if it's the control to decide to learn a new language on your own, or the control to dedicate an hour a day to a woodworking project in your garage. Take back control of the narrative in small doses. Do you need competence? Real life doesn't have an XP bar shining above your head, so you need to create your own victory metrics. Stop focusing only on the final goal that's years away and start celebrating your daily loot. Did you manage to save 50 reals this week? That's XP. Did you have a difficult conversation you've been putting off? You leveled up in charisma.
Record this. Visualize your progress in the real world the same way you look at your character's stats. Do you need connection? That's the hardest mission at the level we're playing today, but it starts with understanding that fictional characters are built to be vulnerable and authentic. To have a guild in real life, you'll have to risk taking off your armor first. Real connections aren't forged in superficial conversations about the weather. They're forged by going through hardships together. Find your tribe in communities of people who love the same things you do and have the courage to transform that virtual or casual relationship into something where real support exists. Living in the real world today requires a courage that even fictional heroes can't imagine.
Because there, the script is already written, and good almost always triumphs in the end. Out here, it's in hardcore mode, with the difficulty at maximum, and no saving the game allowed to try again. But that's exactly why your journey here matters so much. You are not broken by loving the non-existent world more than the world outside your window. You simply have a discerning mind that refuses to live a life without purpose, progress, or true connection. Don't blame yourself for your thirst for magic. Just learn to channel that thirst to build your own oasis out here. Because in the end, the only story whose ending you can truly change is your own. I truly hope this map helps you on your journey.
And keep evolving and following our videos. I'll always be waiting for you here. Feel free to check out the other videos on our channel. See you later.